Hi, I'm Chris from Airwindows, and hey, this is going to be a little interesting. Firstly, you can do this, but when I say you can do this, what I mean is so I don't know if you can play all these instruments. This took me about 2 hours. The idea is that this is a groove. You might notice it's a funny time signature. And there's a reason for that. Because this is Airwindows SoftClock. Here, I can turn it on along with the music. So here's the thing. If you do a jam like that, it might be disorienting. You might lose track of where you are, especially if it's an odd time signature. And pretty much through that whole thing, I was basically shredding on every instrument at once. That's never really worked for me, but this time it did. At least I feel like it did. There's a groove there, and that's because I'm mimicking the sounds of this. This is Airwindows SoftClock, not the one that's tracked, mind you. The recording there used a version of this that I routed to an audio track and captured it along with the first track that I played, because you have to have it recorded to the DAW. You can't have this, it doesn't actually even synchronize with the DAW. It just sits there doing this. And you route that to an audio track in the DAW and capture it with your first take. Turn it up good and loud so you can hear it. And this is what's causing that groove, that synchrony, and there's a good reason for it. Airwindows SoftClock uses a concept, I've heard Adam Neely talk about this, but I'm directly going after it, called entrainment. Entrainment is when your body can swing to the beat, when you can groove to it, when you could dance to it. And you don't necessarily get that out of click tracks that just go tick, 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 or are a cowbell or something. It doesn't even necessarily matter whether the click is a extremely rigid click with no decay, where it's just this brutally obvious, like, tick, 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 or whether it has a bit of sustain to it, or beeps or boops. What matters is the onset and decay time of whatever you're supposed to entrain to. The idea I got from watching a Drumeo video about the best metronomes. And they had this one idea where they made what they tried to make the worst metronome. And one of them was barking dog samples. And the guy playing drums along to that found it weirdly easy to keep time to. There's a very good reason. When you do entrainment, now we've got this doing a 7, but it doesn't have to be a 7. Let me change. See, we got a tempo, count. Tuple is sort of the number of beats that you're doing, so I've got eighth notes here. And it can be fourths, but it's going to keep the same count. Swing and big beat, we will shut those off for the moment. Accents, boost, and speed. Accents and boost have to do with the pitch. For instance, here's boost going up. Notice that the tone doesn't actually stop. It just goes quieter as the pitch drops, to the point where it's just about silent at a very low frequency. Accents makes the significant parts of the beat go louder. So you can use that as a reference without having the sort of ticking going on. Or doing this, there's no change. But then you lose the reference for where you are within the beat. Again, we're on a 7. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's make it an 8. Now it's kind of going down and then coming back up again. You can hear where you are in the beat with this. That's why the 7 was possible to follow, even with a bunch of instruments jamming away like crazy on it. In speed, that's also very interesting. Speed is the physical sensation of swing with this beat. Here we have a good solid beat going on. Let's make it a higher pitch so that we can hear it clearly. Hear what happens when I turn speed up. We can make it closer to a click because the swinging of the drumstick or whatever goes faster, letting you be able to zero in on what the exact beat is, but you can also do this. So that's kind of like a beat. But it's losing the exactness. So if you were going to do, for instance, I don't know, let's do a 5 in a slower time, like but probably not this slow of a tempo. Imagine you're doing like a waltz or something. That would be a 3 though, but well, we can do that. Here is a subdivision of 3. I'm doing the funny time signatures just because it will show you clearly what that time signature is, but I can. Now we can do a waltz. And the tempo of it, the motion of it, is much slower. So it could be like a roller waltz, you know, a roller skating waltz or something. But it gives you a sense of where that beat is without it being too rough. You need to kind of swing along with what the tempo is telling you to do. That's what SoftClock does, is you dial in what the motion you're trying to produce is. Whether that be dancing motion or whether that be the music playing motion, the groove that you're trying to lock in. Whether that be with the drums, guitars, bass, whatever, you have this moving the way you want the song to move, which may very well also mean how you want dancers to move. And supposing we want to go a little faster than that. So that's still fairly chill, but it's a slightly more upbeat take on that tempo. It's not just swinging anymore. It's got a directness to it. Or maybe we want to do like something like a fast tempo. This is like 185 or so. A 5. And people should be jumping around quite aggressively to this. So you have the click doing this, and you play along with that, and then whatever audience you wind up getting with it also has that motion going on. Or supposing let's go to around 140. That's an 8. And if we want to have it be a really aggressive, impactful thing, maybe we just keep increasing speed. So if you play stuff along to this, it'll be a pretty aggressive drum and bassy sounding thing because the tempo is about right. It's 8s, and it is hitting about as hard. Like the motion that SoftClock is conveying is an aggressive, punchy motion with a lot of impact to it. Or we can push it even farther. And then if we slow it right down again, it's a more relaxed feel. And if you entrain your motions in playing and dancing and so on to this, it'll be more gentle, even though the tempo is still the same. So here's the thing. We haven't touched swing and big beat yet. That's because those do a whole different thing again. We'll leave it on the 8 for the moment. And what does swing do? What you think it might. It swings the offbeats. That can give you what you need as far as making interesting patterns. Because again, even if it's a weird thing, if everybody entrains to it, that groove will carry through whatever it is that you're playing. Whether you're playing, as I did, live instruments, real drums, real basses and guitars and things, you have to lock into what the swinging seems to be doing. And then that will work. It will convey itself through the music. Or you could be doing it with, like, my little X key, which is sitting over here, and soft synths, like Six Signs or Surge XT, which I like playing with. Either way, if you play those things over a track like this, and play them as a human being, you're not going to sequence to this. There is no specific beat in here. It's nothing but a sign that's swooping around. So there is no actual click inside this. It's where you hear it to be. And it's where you place your accents and things on top of it to merge them together. At the end of this video, I will put the little track that I did. The whole thing took me about 3 hours from beginning to end, including mixing. And you'll hear how this conveys itself through a piece of music quite simply and easily. But first, I have to answer what big beat is. What big beat is a delaying of the snare drum as it goes up. That's the kick. That's the 1. 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that works with odd times too. When you delay just the snare, it causes the size of the beat to feel bigger. And you can do it to unreasonable levels, although you probably don't want to. Typically, you're going to want it to sit around the amount of swing that you have. But if you push it way out of line, this is what it does. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you don't want to delay it that much, but if you delay just a little bit, you start making the backbeat heavier because it is not hitting as far front as it could. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that sounds like a big delay, but then if you put swing in there, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so what you do is dial that in. If you wanted to mimic, for instance, the sound of, say, Ringo Starr playing the intro to Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band Reprise, which is an amazing drum beat. First of all, it doesn't swing as hard as that. It's not quite as fast as 140 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, boom, boom. Speed goes up because he's playing harder, so it's not that relaxed of a beat. Slightly less swing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Got it backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Boom, boom, boom. And so that's how you get that kind of feel, by kind of imagining the drums in your head and then dialing in swing and big beat until it's getting roughly the feel that you want, because it's not going to be a feel off of just a metronome, which is very important. That's how you get things like this. You can dial in like John Bonham style feels as well if you like, by just figuring out how much small amounts of swing is in there, which also implies how hard you're hitting the one, and how much the backbeat is delayed. For Ringo, it's because he is not a very large guy and was playing really heavy sticks and wailing on it as hard as he could, so his backbeat tended to be delayed a little bit. And that works for a lot of different styles of music, having the backbeat not be extremely upfront. Mind you, Dilla beats are about delaying the kick, so you could turn it around maybe and count it backwards if you really wanted to do that. But then what we can do is take this particular groove, we'll maybe give a little bit more swing. No, that's too much swing. Pull that stuff back a little bit. Accents go up a little bit so that we can hear what it's doing. Likewise with boost. So now that we've got a click track that would work for Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band Reprise, let's hear what it would happen if it was a 7. So Ringo was not in King Crimson, but if he was, it would have sounded kind of like this. And we could accelerate or decelerate, and it'll work about the same. And as you continue onwards through to the extremes, the even-numbered things, like for instance 8, 16, I believe 24, 32, are still like square-shaped tempos. It's counting up over a number of bars and doing the same thing with swing, putting the backbeat of that in the middle there. So this would be a very slow tempo over a bunch of bars. But all the other ones are picking different kinds of odd times and applying all of this appropriately. For instance, there's a 3. Here's a straight up 4, and then here's a 5 that you can hear and jam along with without getting lost. But what if we wanted 2 5s? That would be 10. 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes up to the 1. 1, 3, 4. And then the backbeat is what gets swung. And then we can do things like there's an 11, except for it might be a 9, or, well, not a 9. I think 9 is in 3s. You basically count it, and I'm throwing different variations on each one. No, that's 11. But you'll notice that as we go to other odd times, we do other 11s, but count it slightly differently. Here's 13. That's also 11. So they're not necessarily the number. The number is just specifying what variation on that count it does. And I'm pretty sure it starts with tightly packed ones and then extends outwards into this much slower one like this. Yeah, see, that's not 15. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it's a 13, but it's a 13 you can hear. Check out the accents. So doing that, you could jam on a 13 all day long and not get lost. Even if maybe you're not the super genius musician, I wouldn't call myself a super genius musician, but this lets me not get lost. It's a new thing. Somebody asked me to post it because they were excited about getting to use it, so now everybody gets to use it. So let's say we don't want to count 3s, but we do like the fact that we're in the, what was it, a 13? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, let's go to count 16. Actually, I think 16 is literally 4s again. Yep. But then 17 should be a 13 again, but instead of being counted in 3s, it'll be counted in 4s. Let's find out. No, it's counted in 5s. And I have to slow down the accent so I can hear it. Yeah, it's 4, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's how this works. You can count it in subdivisions, even as they get stranger and stranger. For instance, let's make it do a counting in 5s to the best of its ability. Remember, it goes up to the 1. 5, 5, and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. And you'll find these counts on these cards that I've spent so much time making, where you get to make arrangements and make stuff up on the fly, sometimes with just random chance. For instance, this says 11443. Let's go and find that right now. That's 3s, not 4s. So the next 11 found here yeah, that's actually an 11. It's not a 12. And it's being counted 443. I went and found the one that was going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I went one up from that, and this is now 443. So yeah, my hope is that this is going to be interesting to people. Now, I am going to switch over to mentioning a couple of other things. I wanted to try to explain this as well as I could, but like if you can't use it, I don't know what to tell you. It let me play stuff pretty good, and I know there's at least one person real excited to get their hands on it, so here you go. I've been real busy doing a lot of other things. For instance, I'm still working on reverb concepts. So the reverb concepts are making examples, like with these kind of measurements, and calculating them out in order to be able to make reverb sounds here. Let me hush this up for a second. In order to make reverb sounds that'll handle larger verbs better, because I'm always fascinated in those. I'd like to do interesting space ambient things, and I feel like I need to make better huge reverbs. And I haven't had that much luck with it, although I've been trying my level best. But just in the last couple of days, I was recoding the thing that I used to generate the reverbs, and I found that the window that I was investigating them with was cutting off before it could evaluate the whole reverb tail on the larger ones. So it was giving me legitimate results in smaller reverbs, but then in the larger ones, it was kind of not seeing the entire reverb tail. And so I could do 16 million variations and pick the best of all of those. In fact, I have that running on my computer right now, and it's up to about 3 million for one of the sizes there. But if it's not evaluating the full reverb tail, then it's not returning sensible results. It fails to evaluate it according to the criteria I was coming up with. And so I am back into that, and hopefully we'll be coming out with some really cool sounding ginormous reverbs pretty soon. Plus there's always the percussive reverbs of listen to those and then use my own techniques to get into the zone of what those sound like. And I'm also busy doing other things. For instance, this might look like a regular old, hang on, don't mind me. This might look like a regular old Oratone. It's one of the reissues, but look what's on the back. You can make it do this.
Power on. Bluetooth pairing. Bluetooth connected.
So remember the thing that I played in a moment ago? I did this just the other day before doing this actual track, because I wanted to do this instead. As you can hear, the music that I'm doing comes across pretty good in an Oratone because it's a Console X mix. And I did this stuff based on, this is literally the little box that Venus Theory did a video on using a garbage speaker to do a mix check on. I wanted a mix check that would be more convenient for checking things in mono, and well, this is it.
Power off.
I believe it is shut off the phone. So yeah. So I've been real busy doing all manner of things, and that suits me. I'm doing stuff to help people out there who might want a leg up, who might be in a jam or not have the resources that they otherwise would want. And I think people should be able to make music, especially if you are not an AI touting, if you're a human being. I feel like you should be able to make music that human beings can listen to, and you'll probably be better at it than AI can do. And so for a final thing, I'm one of my longest videos, but hopefully it's deemed worth it. What I'm going to do is bounce right back over to full screen, which we'll do now. And then I am going to play the whole track through and show you the settings on Console X and the different reverbs and things, and pointy guitar, because literally every guitar and bass in here is using my new pointy guitar plugin from last week. Here we go.